What is up, everybody? Keith, a.k.a. Gator Guy 231, and we are back for the final EPL game of the weekend. I'm here with my guy, Lee Snyder. Lee, it's been a minute, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We're finally at the end of this marathon of soccer, but a 10-game EPL slate. Is there a better sweat in DFS? I don't know.
I would probably say a 5-game EPL slate. It's a little less work for the likes of me and you that also kind of pride ourselves on updated content after lineups. So I think less games is a little bit better, but it's going to be fun.
Definitely.
So what we're going to do today, if you guys have not looked, it is every single team all at once per normal. Obviously normally this is to help like the championship and the relegation battles that teams don't know and have to play. It's going to help a lot, actually, Lee. There's a ton of teams playing for stuff. So I think what I would love to do before we even jump into the games, what they're playing for, how are you approaching that in terms of, we have a lot of teams kind of in the mid-table that are just going to be showing up. We even have the two biggest favorites that really just need to show up. They're not playing for anything. We have a lot in between that, are playing either for European lives or for relegation. So just overview to you, what's your going to be your mode of attack with motivations?
I think there's a couple different schools of thought here, and I'm not sure that one is, any more correct than the others. I think the thing that I can say with confidence is the reason you like the games where a team is playing for something is because that gives us a little more confidence in minutes and what the lineup's going to look like, right? So, just because there's two teams that have nothing to play for, it doesn't mean that game can't end 3-3 and be great for DFS. But it could also end 0-0. I think it, at least with, let's say a team fighting relegation like Bournemouth, you can be, pretty damn sure that at the end of that game, if they're not in the lead, they're going to be throwing everybody forward, sending in a ton of crosses. So that's the way I look at it. So I think but then again, you have a team like City who technically does not have anything to play for, but I will absolutely be targeting players from City in that spot. So, you got to take it all into consideration.
Yeah, and before we jump in, so it was funny when the slate kind of like first came out. I'm how I always do things. I don't know about you. I actually pull up the matchups on SofaScore before I pull up DraftKings at all. Like I really just hate being like biased by pricing or anything of that nature. And I'm like, all right, we got Leicester versus United. Okay, Chelsea. All right, and I'm like starting to formulate. I'm like, City versus Norwich.
Oh, of course.
Like, this slate could actually be good. And then it's all roads and EPL always lead back to Manchester City.
And so, have they been a bigger favorite the entire year? Like they're at minus 1,600 now.
Has there ever been a team that comes back from a pandemic break and actually doesn't show up at all like Norwich? Like, talk about a team that just – that's terrible for me to say they show up with no heart, but they're just abysmal, man. I think they might be one of the worst Premier League teams I can think of in the last few years.
Yeah, prayers for Daniel Farke.
No, I think I heard I heard like weeks back that he was already planning on not coming. Like he got in like a national team offer and was, if they didn't make it stay up, he was definitely going. So
maybe that played into how poor they've looked.
maybe it's prayers for Pookie.
Yeah. Back to the championship.
Hopefully we get a chance to have some Pookie parties and some championship slates. We can actually have some fun with it. So anyhow, we got a lot to get to. Let's get right into it. It's kind of how the format's going to go. We're going to be talking plenty of DFS for you guys. That's what you're here for. But, here's the thing. It's final week. There's going to be a lot of lineup rotation likely. So we're going to try to give you the top targets by game. Not spend too long on it. Let you know what everybody's playing for. And then at the end of this, some, overall roster construction thoughts and a few other bonuses. So let's jump right into it. I kind of arranged this sheet based on like some odds and to get the whole City bullshit out of the way soon. So first game on the slate, we got Manchester City at home minus 1266. So 5 times more favorited than any other team on the slate. Norwich is plus 2,956, whatever the hell you want to do with that bet. And then the total is actually pushing 2-4, and I've seen in little places that there's some even juice above 4. Lee, talk to me. First off, what Norwich pieces are you targeting?
Well, actually, to make matters worse, Buendia is suspended for this match. I mean, so they.
I know. So, I mean, hey, Kenny Mack, min-price sets.
I mean, he does produce, right? But, oh, man. No, I'm not touching Norwich. But, yeah, let's talk about City. I think I may be in the minority on this, but I believe that we're going to see close to their best 11. And I'm reading between the lines from Pep's news conference a little bit, but he said a couple of things that I thought were interesting. Number one, he said he's using this game as a gauge to see who's going to start the Champions League match against Madrid. And then he specifically mentioned that they want to score 100 goals again this year, and that's 3 away.
I wanted to be 7 away. I was really hoping it was 7 away. I'm like, oh, okay.
I mean, what's the EPL record? Maybe they're going for that. I think it's a few over 100. So
okay. I mean, we know that they won't stop. Like even if they're up 4-5-0, they're not going to all of a sudden sit back. So we don't have Mourinho problems. So talk to me though specifically. Like, let's say that they do have like a pseudo number one or enough stud guys in. Like, talk to me about that and like specifically De Bruyne.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can argue price aside. He's the best play on the slate. I mean, it's the best possible matchup you could have for KDB, and he's going to do what he does. Mm-hmm. But I think from a roster construction standpoint, there's so many other good plays, even on City for much less that I don't think he's a lock because you can do so much more with your roster. You could get you're getting Mahrez at 8.1K, Jesus at 7.8. It's just they're too cheap.
I think ultimately, and this kind of can be our jump off on this one, but I do think that there's a lot of merit to the De Bruyne fade because I think anything shy of 20 is incredibly easy to make up on this slate. Just because like I hope people realize this. The scores this weekend are going to be out of this world. So you're going to need some goals and you're going to need upside. So a 15 floor point from De Bruyne, I would just let you know you're not winning a GPP if De Bruyne puts up 15. Like I personally feel he'll have to put like 25 DK to be in like the GPP winning line. And the thing that sucks about City roulette slates is now it's City PK roulette too. Like we don't even get to know for sure that De Bruyne is on PKs. Like that was tilting as hell.
Yeah, what I heard on that one is that Sterling took because they still think he's in the Golden Boot race. So that's another storyline to look at. I didn't
even see him in like the top. What?
Well, he's 4 behind now.
He was going to score 4 more goals versus in that game or something.
I mean, would you? It's not out of the realm of possibilities that Sterling scores 4 goals, right? That would tie him with Vardy if Vardy did not score.
Oh my God, whatever. I guess it depends if he can score another one with his nose or head or on the ground. I mean, I will say this: like as much as like that probably tilted people's face off, I'm sitting here at home like I put him in like every damn FSI core that slate, and he was like way under owned. I was like, whoa, why do people not play like $8,100 Sterling versus Brighton? So that was nice, but dude, he can't do 4 twice in 3 games or whatever. I don't know. I guess so. Go for it. But yeah. So like let's just kind of round it up on that. So 100% you can like how many City do you think is too many?
I mean, I honestly think if you really wanted to, you could just focus your entire lineup on City and maybe have a shot at a really high score, just because the matchup is that good. But then again, with 9 other games, if you stack City, you are going to have the 1 or 2 guys that don't get the goal or the assist, and that really could hurt you. So
yeah, you get the 8 DK from Jesus. You sit there and you go, how the hell do they have 5 goals and their striker not have a goal or assists?
Mm-hmm.
And you're pissed off. And I mean, that's just normal City, and why you do the whole City smash, and you play their City roulette wheel, and you put as many bets as you can on as many of their scores as you can. You really just hope that it goes. But outside of De Bruyne, nobody has a floor. I guess Mahrez has a floor, but yeah, I don't know. It's City, man. If you guys don't know this by now, it's City. They're the most important team on the slate to get it right. They're going to be the most owned team, and they're going to be the best team for you to leverage ownership-wise. And we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. I just want to throw in one guy. You took my thunder by saying that it might not be Clown Car, but if for some reason there's a mini Clown Car, you see Tommy Doyle, 3,400, taking some sets in the FA Cup, was one of the studs of their under-23 team. Just watch for Tommy Doyle. For some reason he gets to start. I would love that play. Anything else on City before we get to the actual other games, Lee?
No, I mean, unless you just had a thought on the fullbacks from City.
Yeah,
they are priced pretty low.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about that real quick. I mean, we talked about it beforehand. So they will 100% be in play. I've said this on many of my little preview videos on City showdowns. City fullbacks smash when they struggle to score, because Pep will allow them to do crossing. Until then, he wants specifically Mendy or Zinchenko on the left to touch the byline and to cross the ball back into the middle, half the time on the ground. Pep does not love balls in the air. So just be careful. If they score in the first 2 minutes, you might end with like 2 Mendy crosses.
Yeah.
And tilt your face off. And then not only that, it's worth noting, Kyle Walker will play in the midfield and never get wide. So just be careful. But I think they're still in play. They can obviously still have the pass that leads to a goal, and you're fine.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. It's like you could almost say the same thing about like De Bruyne. If there's a game where City are really struggling to score, you pair De Bruyne to Mendy or something, and then you pick up all those peripheral points.
And like Mahrez, and they stay wide, and they're throwing useless crosses in. But all of a sudden they smash, and you're just like De Bruyne. You're just like praying that he gets an assist before he subs. All right.
Yep.
Promise that is the longest we'll spend on any team because it is that important. And now we're going to start doing some little hyperdrive on some games. All right. Second game, Liverpool away to Newcastle. Liverpool minus 245, Newcastle plus 681. About a 3 total, so it is one of the highest totals on the slate. Liverpool, Lee, give me your. I know I'm the Liverpool guy, but I'm gonna I'll give my little line, then you can go. Liverpool still might be drunk from all the celebrations. They have absolutely nothing to play for. You could argue to say that most of the games that they've been back, they've had nothing to play for, and it's looked like it. I don't think this is a spot I'm really on much Liverpool at all. What say you?
Yeah, the matchup, of course, is nice. But yeah, I don't feel like I have a good read on like what we're going to see for their lineup, what their motivation is going to be. Are they going to be hungover? How many minutes are guys like Salah and Mane going to go? So I just have a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a guy like Harvey Elliott, who the team paid a lot of money for, somebody young that hasn't gotten much of a run in the team at all since the FA Cup exit. So you might see him sub on a little bit earlier for one of those two. The one name I'll just toss out. So obviously, here's the thing. If Trent Alexander-Arnold is in, obviously he's very in the play. And I would probably like focus my Liverpool attention to Trent. Like that would be the guy I target. But if he's not in and you see Nico Williams on the right, that's a really good play at sub 5K. He took some corners last time he was on, split with Andrew Robertson. So if you wanted kind of like cheaper Liverpool exposure, look for that. Anything else?
The only other thing I think is worth mentioning is that Newcastle are down a lot of center backs, so they are a little bit weaker on the defensive side.
So and that's a good point too, because Newcastle and Steve Bruce specifically, like shout out to Steve Bruce for all of the haters. Like he kept them up yet again. Like everybody that said, that he was going to get them relegated. I mean, smack dab in mid-table again. So good for him. Hopefully he'll get a nice payout when he gets fired this offseason so that they can bring in your boy Pochettino or something. But I think that's going to happen, man. Don't you?
I don't know. That's a
takeover.
pretty big downgrade for Poch. I just have dreams of him coming back to Spurs.
What are
But
you
that's
talking
very
about? They're gonna be oil team number 2. But yeah, so I think that's just. But I was just gonna say, Bruce has no problem sending 9 guys behind the ball and just playing completely on the counter. So especially that would help your fullbacks. All right, let's go into the 2 games which arguably are the most expensive games for real life money elements. They're going to decide the final 2 Champions League spots in England. So we're going to start out with Chelsea minus 117 home to Wolves. Pretty much it's easy for Chelsea. They win. Let me look down at the table. I can't remember if it's win or draw. They win and they're in. Draw, they still might be in, but they need a little bit of help. Wolves also, funny enough, has to win to guarantee their Europa League spot. So both teams are going to be full out, number 1 lineups. Did I miss anything there? And talk to me about the DFS plays, Lee.
No, I think that covers everything that's on the line in this one. Yeah, really, a really important game in real life terms. Probably not one that I'm really looking at in DFS, just because you have, 2 capable defenses here, even though Kepa has been absolutely awful for Chelsea. But that's another story. But the way they're priced, of course, Willian's been amazing.
Yeah.
But do I want to pay for his floor? Because I don't think his ceiling is going to match a lot of guys in that range. Pulisic, 9K. I'm just not going to do it in this matchup as good as he has been. So, I mean, there's really not a DFS play that I'm targeting from this match. I don't know if you have anything different to say.
I think you're selling Willian maybe a little low to me. If he was 9,300, I'd be completely on board. But that 8,300, especially as just like a direct pivot off of Mahrez chalk potentially, I think is interesting. Maybe it's more GPP. Keep in mind, Willian has penalties, so that does help a little bit. But I mean, he does take every set piece for Chelsea in a matchup that we know. Like, here's one thing I'll just say, with the exception of the United game, which I'm sorry, I'm blanking the 2. Anyhow, because United let down, Chelsea smashed them. That was a good slate. But when Frank needs a win, he only knows one way. He does that super, super high press, high energy for like the first 20 minutes where you actually worry that Chelsea's going to burn out. And then you realize that everybody's only like 22, so they're okay. But like they will just like press everybody forward. And, the first 20 minutes, you're like, oh my God, why don't I have more Chelsea stacks? I think we'll see that. And Nuno also has no problem accepting pressure and then trying to hit on the counter. So we could see like 7 Willian crosses in the first like 20 minutes. I mean,
yeah, that actually is a good point because Wolves are very happy to sit back, especially early in games. So,
and especially big games, like that's like the Nuno thing is let the teams like just put all the pressure and have Traore in there, just be like, hey buddy, just get ready to take off and kill some people. It's like if we can get a long ball,
Yeah,
So,
and to add to that, I mean, if you want to pivot off Mahrez, because maybe he only gets 60 minutes, right? Like if Willian has his legs, he's going to be on there for 90 minutes. So
I can't imagine him subbing out.
Yeah,
just because they need that technical ability too. Like let's say it's like 1-1 in the 80th minute, and you have a free kick outside the box. Like Willian probably is one of those like five guys in the EPL you want to take that too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but I do think Willian's a good play. But I don't think it's like a type site that I'm targeting Marcus Alonso. Oh, actually on that. If Marcus Alonso starts, Frank Lampard does not deserve to start next year or does deserve his job. No, I'm seriously like just from like I'm a big tactical guy, that, and like I thought it was shocking that Lampard started him versus Liverpool with Salah and TAA on that side. I thought that was criminal. If he starts on Traore's side, so there's I will just say I'm on Wolves, like my favorite GPP pivot is if you do see Alonso starting, I would really try to get a Traore share too, and he's all the way down at 6,600. So I think that's really interesting.
That's a good shout. I like that.
Because I do think Azpilicueta needs to start on the left. Maybe either, whether they want to do back five or they want to do like a back three or they want to do a back four. I think Azpilicueta needs to be on the left to take care of it. And he, if anybody, could probably deal with Traore.
Yep.
Okay, I think that's enough. Let's move to the other huge win in your end game for the Champions League. So, I mean, I don't know the exact figure, but that's like $100 million type of thing. So we got United away to Leicester, plus 126, plus 229. Here's the deal. United wins or draws, and I believe they're in. Leicester must win. Draw does not work. Must win to make it into the Champions League, which would be huge for a team like Leicester. And honestly, you could say the same thing for United. Like, that alone could help pay for Jadon Sancho if they decided to. So talk to me about the targets.
Yeah, another massive game. One that I kind of see as being a little bit cagey, perhaps, especially in the beginning. If I'm going to target anyone from this game, it's probably going to be on the United side, just because Leicester are pretty depleted right now. So even though United are away, that's the team I'd be looking at. Again, not necessarily a game that I'm targeting from a DFS perspective. Bruno's always going to get there for you, but it priced up at 8,900.
At first, West Ham.
Well, yeah, there was that. The forwards for United are probably going to be very underowned just from a leverage perspective. But are you looking at anyone in this game for any type of cash build?
I think Bruno's in play. And then I did think Juan Basaka's price is interesting. He's down at 4,200.
I didn't even notice that.
Well, because he's further down than he usually is. Like, I'm not the biggest Juan Basaka DFS play fan because he's like a tackler more than he is a crosser. But I mean, I think 4,200 he's fine. But yeah, I think it's Bruno really on the United side, and I love that shout that the forwards are underowned. Let me just ask you, any after watching him cross 1 million balls against your squad, any love for Yuri Tielemans?
No, I'll just take David Silva at 7K.
Agreed. I agree. Worth noting too for Tielemans game log watchers, if you see Albrighton in, that's not going to be the Tielemans you get either. Albrighton's would jump onto all the sets or has been. I mean, I don't know if Brendan Rodgers is impressed by Tielemans' service, but normally it's Albrighton. So you kind of got to jump off if you see that. Last thing. Vardy party versus the big squads. I mean, if there's ever a time for a Vardy party goal, this is probably it. He will not be only.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get like, I don't know, maybe 5% or less. Who knows?
I mean, we know his record versus the top teams too. And in the past, I don't know if it's that good this year. And he's in the lead for the Golden Boot. He scores here. I don't think anybody can catch him. So just a little narrative maybe to watch. Maybe that's a better FanDuel play, but there you go. All righty. Here's one of the games that we both targeted. We both circled as maybe a very, very big GPP game. Your Spurs, come on, you Spurs, minus 183 versus Crystal Palace. We both have seen articles and people out there touting this completely wrong. Spurs have everything to play for. There's a European spot. Jose belongs in Europe, according to him. Respect, Lee. Respect. So talk to me about Spurs here versus a really depleted Palace team.
Yeah, and let me quickly add to the stakes here, because technically in 7th, Spurs could get Europa League qualification, but in an absolute nightmare scenario, the Arsenal win the FA Cup and then that spot is gone. I mean, there is literally nothing worse you could see from a Spurs perspective. So believe me, we want to win this game.
Absolutely.
So yeah, DFS perspective. I'll also note that Palace have been absolutely terrible. They've lost 6 or 7 straight matches. They're giving up a ton of goals.
Yep.
Spurs finally look, pretty good. Granted, they're kind of sitting back and countering on some better teams, but nonetheless, they, Kane kind of looks like he has his legs back.
2 straight braces.
Yeah, wow, they were ugly, but he got there.
That's Harry Kane under Jose.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, I think the thing that you like out of the Spurs side is we know they need to come out here and win this game. They're going to, especially the longer this game goes 0-0 or whatever, they're going to be pushing forward. Jose's going to have to let them do it. Son and Kane, they're going 90, so you have that safety. Son's taking half of the sets. Kane, he's on PKs. He's always liable to come up with a brace. Some people might look at Lo Celso, but I worry he's struggling with an injury. He's been coming off at like 70 every game, so keep that in mind. And then I am looking at Serge Aurier at 5,100 because he's going to be playing as a winger essentially in this game and sending in a ton of crosses.
Let me, as you were talking, I was thinking of one thing, and I'm curious your opinion. Is there any concern that you do like a contrarian Tottenham stack? Because I don't think any of the guys are going to come in that highly owned. Like, I think it's worth at this point noting, we don't think anybody's really outside of the City game going to come in highly owned because everybody's just going to see how favored the City is and just gravitate towards those pieces anytime you're in these pricing tiers. So, you're going to see the Kane price and you go, why would I pay this for Kane when I could get Mahrez or Jesus? And why am I going to pay almost 10K for Son over De Bruyne? So that's why they're going to come in so under owned. Is there any concern at all that Spurs nick a goal first 20 minutes and Jose does Jose?
Yeah, there is a concern, but I would also say that might actually play into Spurs' hands because then Palace are trying to come forward a bit more to even the scoreline, and that's when Spurs can actually counter with Son and Kane. So I don't think that's the worst thing.
I think, to me, I think that's spot on. That's why, I think, honest to God, if I'm taking any Spurs, it's Kane. Because I just think Son's price is a little prohibitive where he's at. And I like Aurier, but I like Aurier if it's 0-0 in the 75th minute. I love Aurier if it's 0-0. I get worried that once that goal comes up that maybe he doesn't get the freedom. I mean, am I seeing right? You watch more than me.
Well, that he would be the player that would be hurt most by his early Spurs goal, I think, because then he's not going to need to get forward. Jose's going to be yelling at him to stay back. So
back.
Exactly.
Yeah, and also rule. I know you can back me up on. Never play Ben Davies. Am I right?
Oh no, he might as well be a center back. You don't want to play him.
I had somebody message me with some big time curse words because supposedly my Ben Davies hatred cost him a GPP because it was a slate that he had like 4 crosses and you said he plays like a center back. I'm like, because he does.
Yeah, that was a rare occurrence.
Yeah, like he's not supposed to go forward. So 4 crosses is 4 more crosses than he ever is supposed to get. But game flow determines so much of stuff like that. That's the one thing I do hope that both not only your great videos that you've done, but mine do too. That I hope we've kind of impressed upon people that are new to soccer that game flow determines so much in this game in this DFS game. All right, so I think that covers Tottenham. Really good GPP target to get some goal scorers and maybe an under-owned spot. So now we're going to start getting into relegation games, which you could argue as much as these Champions Leagues matter, like for the players, for the owners, no game matters more to some of these players and owners than the relegation battle.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to kick that off with Watford must win to stay up. If they draw, they're out. They must win. They're away to Arsenal, not the greatest matchup for some versus an Arsenal team that's looking okay. Arsenal's minus 108 at home. Talk to me about plays from the other side.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal have looked better, but let's not forget what they're capable of, doing in defense, and that's imploding with David Luiz, a red card, or just silly mistakes. And I think Mustafi's hurt. I don't know whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing.
He's been okay.
Yeah. So we know what Watford have to do here. We know they're going to press the issue. So I think the Watford forwards are interesting. Deeney and Sarr. I think Deeney as the PK taker, kind of as a ceiling guy. And then I would say Sarr to me is one of the guys who is definitely underpriced.
Honestly, I didn't even look. I'll pull him up for us as you talk.
Yeah, he's at 5.5K.
Ooh,
so forward at 5.5. So compare him maybe to defenders at that price. And I think he's got a similar floor, but of course he can easily come up with a goal or an assist. Very talented player against that shaky Arsenal back line. So I have some interest in Sarr.
A lot. And I mean, here's the cool part about Sarr too, as you're talking, he actually does have a floor too. So like, here's 3 straight games, 9.9, 10.1, 10.2 with no goal or assist too. So like, if he doesn't score, unlike taking a guy like Troy Deeney, you're not done.
Yeah, that's so you can kind of take your pick there. You can take a floor guy from Watford if you're looking at more of a cash build, and then Deeney I think makes a lot of sense in GPPs.
What about Will Hughes 4K?
Yeah, I mean,
I know that's the type of impression you get when you hear the word Will Hughes.
Yeah, like it's not the worst thing in the world, but like I think on this slate you should pretty much be able to. You're gonna get. There's so many places you can get floor, right? So I want guys that have a floor and can also score a goal. Like if you aren't building that way, I think you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yes. I love that you just said that you can on this slate with every single player in the EPL that you could want on this slate, you should not be playing defensive midfielders because of their sets. I think if you show up with a midfield of João Moutinho and Will Hughes, you did this wrong.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
Jordan Cooper? we know he loves some defensive midfielders with sets. But what do you think on the Arsenal side of things? It did pop out to me. I mean, I've been like pounding the Danny Ceballos drum on my videos. I love that guy. Even though he is more central, he's just super creative. Do you have any like Ceballos or Aubameyang or Pepe interest?
Ceballos, no, because he's gonna get you 10 points, but I don't think I see enough goal upside from him.
That's fair.
Yeah, so there's another guy in the 5K range in another game that we'll get to, but I do like Aubameyang on the counter here, especially because he's
golden boot upside too.
Yeah, golden boot race. So not a cash play for me, but I do really like him as a tournament play.
Yeah, I think 8.2 is super attractive, especially that $100 right above Mahrez.
Mm-hmm.
So especially like too, if you the higher stakes you go up to, if you play that big GPP, more and more you're going to see the heavier city chalk. I think in that where people are a little worried to get off the chalk than anywhere. So that's a place that you can leverage some ownerships. It could really benefit you. But Aubameyang, that was like one of my top favorite pivots, 8,200. I love that.
I'm with you.
All right. I don't know why I'm going to actually jump over here to the right. I don't know why I put Brighton and Burnley next, but we're going to jump down to the other huge relegation game, Villa versus West Ham. West Ham has clinched their EPL spot with that draw versus United, so they actually do not have to play for anything. Villa, on the other hand, is a win, and I believe they can get – it's pretty much outdo whatever Watford does. So if they draw, like if Watford draws, Villa needs to draw. If Watford wins, Villa needs to win. But whatever Villa does, Watford has to like outdo them in goal differential to keep to go. So Villa is in the driver's seat for I'm going to call it the great escape. And they can thank Watford's ownership for firing, I'm blanking on his name right now, 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Nigel Pearson.
Nigel Pearson. There we go. I'm still convinced he must have punched somebody. Like that's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
that was
anyhow,
weird.
Dude, like whatever. But Villa has a chance to escape. So they have everything in the world to play for. I argue that they might be the most motivated team on this entire slate. So talk to me, if that's going to push you towards a fairly expensive Jack Grealish.
Yeah, I really like this game overall. Just because both of these teams have bad defenses and are willing to get forward. So this is like a perfect game environment. Like if I had to pick a game that's going to end 3-3, this would be one of my top choices.
I can see that.
But to get to Grealish, so if we're talking about a cash build, I think he's like he's maybe the safest play, because you're getting 90 barring an injury.
Yeah.
Villa need to get forward and sending crosses, create chances. So he's easily going to get you that 10 or 12 points. The question is at 8,600, is he, he's probably going to hurt you if he only gets that, 12 or whatever. You need like 20 out of him maybe.
So can I have a little bit of fun? I do not feel wrong if you get this wrong. When was his last goal or assist?
I don't think he scored or assisted in the last 10 matches. Is that right?
You're right about there. February 22nd, his last assist.
Wow.
Yeah. But in that time, no game. You have one match under 6. There's a game versus Leicester, he's 5.3, but every other one is 9 or higher. And most of them are in double digits. I mean, so that's like the calf god that is Jack Grealish and his fouls drawn,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you attribute to that, to like teams figuring out the way Villa want to play, or?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know, because he's still plenty involved. Like, I think it's just that Jack Grealish is that much better than all of his teammates. Like, if you look during that time, like it's 3 shots assisted, 2 shots assisted, 3 shots assisted, 2, 3, 4, 3. Like, it's not like he's not creating chances.
Right. Yeah, they're just not scoring them.
It's just when your ball is going to Samata or Keenan Davis or Douglas Luiz decides that he's going to fire from 30 yards outside the box. It's like not most clinical finishers. He needs to get the ball to Trezeguet more.
Yeah, he had a brace a couple matches ago.
And then scored last week too, right? Or last game.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. The new Egyptian.
But do you like John McGinn at 5K? Because I do.
No. Cool. I love the disagreement. You just said that. I thought you were setting me up. No, I do not.
Okay.
Tell me why you like him, and I'll tell you why I don't.
Okay, sure. So if I'm looking in that 5K range, he's a comp to Moutinho or Lo Celso, right? He does not have sets. The thing I like about McGinn is the game flow, number one. He's finally healthy. He's been playing 90 minutes. I like that a lot. And I mean, this is not the beginning of the season, but if we go back to early in the year, I mean, this guy was matching the output of Grealish. I think a lot of people forget that. And so now that he's healthy, I really don't mind him at 5K.
I see it. I get it. I remember those times. I'm not somebody that's forgotten what he put up, but I also am cognizant that Conor Hourihane wasn't playing that time either. So there was some set shares in there, if I remember right.
Yep.
So I mean, I think personally, where is his price? Oh, geez, Hourihane's 7,400. Really?
See, that's the thing. Yeah, you're getting a $2,400 discount on.
I mean, here's what I'll say to you. At 5K, I think of like those midfield types. He has more chance to show up the goal than a lot of the other ones because he's not afraid to shoot. I don't know. I'll just say this. You're selling me I'm feeling a little bit more. I can see it. Especially with the fouls drawn lately, he is kind of back to that stage. Every roster spot's gonna be so damn valuable. So like, let me just a random one: John McGinn or Nico Williams. If Nico Williams starts over Trent Alexander-Arnold.
What's Williams at? Same price?
4.8. Different position, but
I guess that's a close call because Williams he's only going to play, I think, like 70, 75, right?
He can play 90. If I play a 90 FA Cup, it's not like a fitness issue for him. It's just clop sub him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to me, or you could throw like Aurier in there too. I guess that's a comp.
That's just or Diego Rico, 500 more. We'll get there in a minute. Like, I guess it's just my thought is, I feel like these midfield and forward spots are going to be so valuable because the defenders, per usual versus DK, are all underpriced. So I don't know. I put McGinn against these like crossing fullbacks, and that's where I guess I'm a little bit like, I don't know. Could go either way. Here's the thing: John McGinn will not be 10% owned. Maybe 12% now that you shouted him here. But yeah, I like it. You saw me a little bit more. I'm going to think on that one, but I think it's playable. It's not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the mix. He's in the conversation
Yes.
for me.
We can end there. So hold on. So are you definitely telling me that you would play him over the Egyptian demigod that is Trezeguet?
Yeah, I think McGinn's minutes are safer.
Yeah. But hey, if we add in that 33 and that 19, and then we unfortunately had to toss in the 0.9 game in between. But I mean, that's like a 20, close to 20 average the last three.
Hey, tournament play, all over it.
That's my favorite tout thing that people do on the computer. They take away that 0 game in between. They're like, over the last 3 games, he's averaging 20 DK. But anyhow, I think Villa, kind of what you said, I think that's an unbelievable tournament spot. Maybe pair Mcginn and Grealish together, get a really contrarian midfield. One just note on Grealish before we go on. This is probably his last Villa game, whether they stay up or not. He is Villa born and bred. He grew up a Villa fan. The last huge narrative spot when he got attacked on the field in the championship, he showed up and scored the game-winning goal in a derby game. So Jack Grealish loves a big spot, team captain. I really like Jack Grealish. I think he shows up with the goal. That's kind of my bold. It doesn't sound bold because he's such a good DFS player, but considering he hasn't scored, I don't think in 2020, pretty bold call.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm with you on that, I think.
Yep.
Wait, do you have any interest in anyone from West Ham before we move on?
No, I worry that they already had their celebration. I like Jared Bowen in a bottle, but I don't think I pivot off of Mahrez for Jared Bowen.
Yeah, that's a bold move, I think.
But I would pivot off of Mahrez for Aubameyang. Or even maybe Vardy, low on goal. I just don't think I'm pivoting off of Mahrez for a floor play.
Yep. Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
If you want to go for Antonio, I mean, his price is through the roof, but
yeah, I mean, you can make the form narrative like he's been on fire, but yeah, I mean that he would be. I'm curious what his ownership will be, because the thing I do like about him, even though he is overpriced, is that Villa could easily get caught out here on the counter. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty weak on set pieces, and he's good in the air. So that's all I'll say.
Antonio, you mean?
Yeah.
Or you could take the heading machine of Thomas Susek.
Yep.
That guy, I've watched some highlights. He is always in the box for headers.
Yeah, he's been very involved offensively.
Yeah. I've missed a boat even on showdowns. He's been killing me.
But hey, and then Mark Noble playing as the number 10. All right, maybe.
Noble. Here's the thing: if Noble, if he had PKs like he's had for a decade, I'd be down, because you have some that's the whole guy that has some floor, plus you had that upside, and now he doesn't have PKs for some reason, I guess. Letting Antonio continue his form, that was so tilting. I had a lot of Mark Noble. He was still good, but man, thought he was gonna get that goal. All right, I'm gonna jump one more spot and then we'll go to the worthless games. Bournemouth is the other team in this relegation battle. They're plus 202 to Everton. Here's the deal with Bournemouth: they just have to win. Nothing else will work for them. They have to win, and they get some help. But they will not be paying attention to the scoreboard at all. Eddie Howe will tell them, guys, I know we don't really score goals, but we need to score goals this game. Versus an Everton team that, let's be real, I've talked to multiple. A good friend of mine is an Everton fan, and Everton have no-showed since they've come back. They have nothing to play for, and they have looked like it. So, talk to me about this game and who you like.
Well, I'll kick this one back to you, because I know there's a play that you're targeting.
All right, so we got to give a Luis Pacheco a shout on this one. So I heard the nickname from him. But Rico Suave here. I mean, can you tell me? You need to help me here. What should I not like about Rico Suave and Diego Rico if you're actually looking for him, people? Or anything.
I mean, my only argument against him would be that maybe he doesn't have the ceiling, but the floor is 100% going to be there in this game. I mean, he's going to cross so many times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing with Diego Rico. He has at least half the sets for Bournemouth. If Stanislas is in, Stanislas is going to take the in-swingers. But Rico takes a lot of free kicks that are like not on goal. Stanislas is actually a really technical player and will take the ones that he can just get a shot on goal on. But Rico will stay wide and just has the permission from Eddie Howe to bomb in every damn ball that he can. So the last 2 games, 15 and 11 crosses, even freaking 11 crosses versus City, Lee.
Yeah, that's impressive. I saw that.
That was insane. And then this is the part I love beforehand. So Leicester, you needed the assist to get there. He had 14.2, but 17.3 floor points versus your Spurs with only 4 crosses. Like, he's a tackler too. I don't know. For me, he's actually probably one of the first guys in my lineup Saturday or Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, I can absolutely see that.
Now, here's the big thing with Bournemouth, even though they need to win. I cannot picture a world that you target any of those forwards. Can you? Maybe Callum Wilson.
Well, yeah, like I subjectively, no, I can't imagine it, but obviously the odds makers see something because Callum Wilson has 45% implied scoring odds at only 4.6K. So if you're looking at that objectively, that's actually a really good value for his implied upside. But he could easily end with a big 0.
So Lee, now that you brought that up, I got to go back to you with the McGinn. GPP, John McGinn or Callum Wilson? I'm testing your McGinn take.
I will take McGinn there because if we're going to play one of them, it's for a goal. And I think McGinn's already going to have 8 or 9 floor points to add to that goal. So I'll take him.
Okay. I don't disagree, but it's just interesting because, you go, hey, I want some upside and Wilson's there. But I want to say, like, Wilson's probably been a bookie favorite like all season and just not showing up because Wilson's a good player. It's just he isn't getting – there's no creativity for Bournemouth. That's the biggest issue. Like, even my guy Rico Suave, there's no creativity here. Everybody knows what's happening when he gets the ball on the left.
Yeah, and say what you want about Everton's motivation, but they're not a bad defense. So it's not going to be easy for Bournemouth to score.
I just hope Alligator Arms Pickford shows up and maybe lets one by.
Yeah, he's not very good. He's just not very good, Pickford. I don't see it.
Nick Pope is better than at some point Garrett Southgate is gonna make that switch.
I think Dean Henderson has looked better than Pickford. I don't get it.
But he's good with his feet, Lee. That's what Garrett Southgate is telling us. He's good with his feet. I don't care that that's gonna be like Kepa's thing. I can't stop shots. I'm good with my feet. But yeah, so I think Diego Rico and you move on from Bournemouth side, and that's a way to get motivation from a team in the relegation battle. You don't even have to pay $6K. You're probably walking with double digits, and if he gets an assist, I mean, you're probably looking at 20 DK. On the Everton side, I'm really curious: is Lucas Dean even in your peripheral vision?
I don't think so. It just doesn't make sense to me here.
Isn't that crazy? Like, he's like normally the lock and load guy in EPL.
Yeah, that's I think the thing that works in the favor of guys like TAA, although I put him in a different boat on this slate, but guys like him and Dean, when it's a smaller slate, they become more valuable because of how reliable their floor is. But that kind of changes when you have 10 games.
Agreed. Especially like what DK should have done, and I mean they're not going to. If they priced Lucas Dean at 5,500, now you are like you have so much heartburn. I really don't want to play this, but you're like, how do I pass this up? That would have been interesting, but yeah, that's another thing. All right, Brighton versus Burnley. There are no stakes here. Are you targeting anybody?
No, if I was going to pick anything out of this game, it'd be from the Burnley side just because we know who their starting 11 is going to be. They have no bench, and they have looked good. So that would be where I'd look. But
if you saw somebody who with Dwight McNeil, would you call them an idiot?
In cash, no.
Okay, fair. And if you go GPP, Chris Wood or Jared?
Yeah, he's on the table. Sure.
Not like Brighton's a good defensive team. Final game. God, this one's gross. But there's an interesting play here. Sheffield versus Southampton. Nobody's playing for anything at this point. Sheffield gave it a good run for Europe, but that's over. So anything for you?
No, nothing I'm targeting, but Southampton, as you mentioned before we hopped on, have looked really good lately. And Ings is in the Golden Boot race, so
that's the one. But here's the thing: the matchup sucks.
Yeah, Sheffield are a solid defense. They're going to be organized.
Yeah, if this was like Southampton versus Palace or Southampton versus Norwich, I think Danny Ings would be like ultimate GPP. It's tough to do. All right, that's 20 games. We probably spent a little bit too much time, but it was fun. We're gonna do a couple more things here. So, Lee's probably. I went back if I was gonna do this to him. He was like, "Whatever you want to do." So you got two, Mr. at DFS Advisor. I did a terrible job at the beginning shouting you out, but he's got two King of the Pitch tickets. So we got some great shot at pretty time-changing money, my friend. So we've already talked about how chalk City is going to be. Talk to me about like your thinking and like, is this something that you want to leverage? Because it's only 100 people, right?
Yeah, 100 total and 3 entry max. So,
and I actually think this, and I'm gonna let you talk. I saw something a while back. You're the head of the site you work for. Jeff Collins has a very, very good history of doing very well in these type of formats by leveraging ownership. He's talked about a lot, showing up at these events and not being afraid to go off the grain. So talk to me about like just your strategy.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to work for Numberball because I've been able to kind of pick Jeff's brain a little bit this week about strategies in finals because he's had a ton of success. And I don't want to share all the insider secrets, but no, absolutely. I think that is something you really have to think about as ownership. And just from what I've seen in the past and talking to Jeff, I think that the lineups probably lean a little chalkier. So if you know that, then you can act accordingly, right? So, I didn't, spend all the money on qualifiers. I did just to like play it safe at the end here.
$500. Yeah, I mean, like mint cash is not okay here.
No, you want to. I mean, it's top heavy in one sense because I mean, 25K to first versus 500 for like 60 on or whatever it is. But I think you want to aim for that top 10 because those are all pretty good payouts. So that's what I'll be aiming for.
So how are you going to leverage your Spurs fandom towards your money fandom?
This is to be honest, I have a lot more thinking to do today about how I want to build and what teams I'm going to target. The fact that City are going to be so chalky is something I'm really thinking about. I think there's merit to pieces of Spurs. And that's it, being as objective as possible and not taking because honestly, I almost don't like having that conflict of interest there, like when you're a fan and then you also have them in your DFS lineup. But
you're Harry, you gotta score, like not only because I want to win here for Europe, but I have money on this.
Well, that almost, I think Kane is a really good play because I think he's one of the few guys that definitely has the hat trick upside, but it almost works against me being a fan because I watch him play and I'm like, man, this guy's done nothing for 60 minutes. And then he comes up with those 2 or 3 goals at the end. So I almost have to like fight that bias.
Yeah. And I mean, you're obviously, I would say we're 2 accomplished DFS soccer players. And I think one of the things that makes us both successful is understanding these guys that don't have shot floors that are strikers are hard. We've always been able to rely on Kane as like a 6-shot guy. That's not the case in the Mourinho system. It's like he takes his opportunity that he gets once every 30 minutes or 40 minutes or it's dark.
Yeah, and honestly, I would attribute a lot of that to coming back from this hamstring injury. That second goal he had last match, he was like kind of like his old self, like taking a difficult shot coming off the wing. So I think he's getting back towards his,
Well, you heard it here. Everyone thinking of the pitch, Snyder is showing up with 2 Harry Kane lineups.
100% Kane. Let's just ride or die there.
But yeah, dude, I wish you luck. We have I think we had 2 guys in it. I know one that's I've already been talking with. And I think the biggest thing in any of those feel like this, and I love your take before we go. I think it's just honestly, you got to show up and not care about being safe. Like you need to throw out the thought of I want to make $1,500 off of this, like, because you're just going to make the most conservative decisions possible, and it's not going to give you the upside you need to really take it home.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, because you could just like look at the forward pool, for example, and your natural inclination is to lean toward those guys like Son and Willian, and because they're safe, right? But I don't think those are the plays that are gonna. I mean, of course they could have great games, but I don't think that type of thinking is going to lend itself to finishing at the top in this type of contest.
No, I think you need to look much more towards like who is the guy that you truly think can show up with 30. And that, and if you can go that he might show up with 30 and he's probably not going to be owned. Well, that's the guy I probably need to get in there.
Yep, so. Exactly. So
and
it'll be
even if he wears red.
Yeah, there's no allegiances here. It's about who's gonna win me 25K.
Absolutely,
I don't care who they play for.
Dude, I wish you luck. I'll be rooting for you and a couple of my guys, and that I'm probably gonna enjoy more of that sweat than I will like the actual game sweat. So I'm gonna you have FSI's rooting interest for you, my friend. Really appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts before we end this?
No, man. Thanks for having me back. It's always fun to chat about soccer, and this is gonna be it's gonna be a really, really fun weekend, fun slate. So looking forward to it.
All right, my friend. You have a good day and good luck tomorrow.
All right, thanks, bud. Talk to you later.